Thank you, Dr. Bruno. As she said, I'm Joni Oy-Benintendi. I'm chair of the Art and Design Department, and I'm a member of the Provost Colloquium Committee. Tonight, Dr. Chang will present a talk on changing attitudes toward individuals with disabilities. For those of you who know me, this is a subject that's rather close to my interest area, as my husband and I lived with his disability for 20 years. And during his career and family life, we experienced a wide range of reactions to his disability, from pity to job discrimination to admiration. Dr. Chang is professor of psychology at East Stroudsburg University. He is a clinical psychologist and is board certified in rehabilitation psychology and sports psychology. He completed his postdoctoral fellowship at Gainesville, Florida Veterans Administration in gerontology and earned his doctorate in clinical psychology at the University of Connecticut. He sees clients at Good Shepherd Rehabilitation Hospital, and in his sports psychology practice, Dr. Chang has consulted with athletes who have entered the professional leagues, Division I, and worked with the Paralympic team for the 2008 Summer Olympics. He was chair of the advisory board for people with disabilities in Northeast Pennsylvania and chair of the diversity committee for Division II Society of Teaching of Psychology. He created the Compassion of Others lives scale that was replicated internationally and has been translated to Spanish and Turkish. At the age of 19, Dr. Chang suffered a surfing accident that rendered him a tetraplegic. He combines his expertise as a clinical psychologist and his own personal experience to enhance his academic and professional careers. He is a recipient of multiple National Science Foundation grants, Christopher Reeve grants, and an American Psychological Association grant. His students have identified him multiple times as one of ESU's most inspirational teachers. Dr. Chang?
Thank you, Joe. Wow, after that introduction, I don't think I'm going to want to talk anymore. We have a lot of students sitting up there on the top, so I'm going to ask everybody to shift to their left here. Move over if you can. If there's any empty spots, just move over. If there's any empty spots, just move on over. There you go. Move over. Keep going. That way there's spots for people. Go ahead and pass out the clickers. Go ahead. Yep. Come on down. Come on down. Open seats. There are a couple of spots here on the front here. Come on down. Couple of chairs. You got it? Come on down. There's a couple of spots over there. There you go. All right, so my assistants, my research team's going to start passing out some clickers for you. I only have about 110 of them, so I apologize if you don't have one. It will. So just pass them out. Amanda, you want to help them pass out, get the rest out? And please do me a favor. When you're done with these after today, please, can I have them back? Okay, I don't want you to post them on in your bedroom and your wall says Dr. Chang's presentation. You know how, because I remember when I was an undergrad, we used to take everything and put them in our dorms. So please don't take my clicker. All right. So they're going to just slowly pass that up, and I'm going to give you 30 more seconds, and I'll begin. Okay, so it's nice to see a lot of familiar faces, and it's also nice to see a lot of different faces from probably my distance ed class or. Is that most of them? Is that most of them? Okay, well, they're going to finish these last few, and I'm going to start off. Bobby really wants one, Dominic. Her hands are up in there. So, Dominic, make sure she gets one, because I think she really wants to be part of the interactive. So just get her one. So, as part of the introduction stated, I remember sitting on a beach, and it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I looked at the ocean. It was a Friday afternoon, August 22nd. So this is going to date you because this shows how old I am. August 22nd, 1986. I just turned 19. I finished my freshman year at college at Ursinus College. I was a week before going back to my sophomore year in college. And I sat there contemplating about going to Georgetown University that night, and I couldn't wait to get going down there and party hard. I wanted to get it out of my system before I went back to college. I was showered, I was dressed, I was ready to go. Then all of a sudden, your students, friends I met that week said, "John, come on back in. The waves are great." I can relive that statement in my head a million times. "John, come back in." I don't know why. I had every reason to go home. I had every reason to not go back into that water. And I said, sure. Took off my shoes. I don't know why I went back in. I don't know. It still rattles me today. I went back in the water. I remember I was paddling. I looked out over the ocean. I saw this big wave coming. And I said, oh, that's mine. And I started to paddle. I looked over my shoulder. I said, shit. I mistimed it. And the wave started to roll. And I got tossed, and I'm spinning around in the water. No big deal. It's happened before. I've been tossed all week. I've been at the shore all week. So I held my breath. I said, okay, just hold your breath. Let it ride. And then I tried to stand up. Nothing happened. And I tried to stand up again. Nothing happened. So I said, okay, all right, something's wrong. Hold your breath. Just hold your breath. Probably it was only about 20 seconds. I said, I can't hold my breath anymore. I have to take a breath. Life does not prepare you to die. I thought, this is it. So I took a deep breath, sucked in a lot of salt water, and then everything went black. Now, I don't know if you believe on life after death or seeing all those images. I do teach way back in general about why your brains shows images when you lose oxygen, but I did see images of flashes of images of my life as if I was looking through an album. And then next thing you know, the sun was in my eye. Well, it was a bright light, and I thought, wow, either I'm dead or the sun's in my eye. I've always thought one individual saved my life. I read an article a few years ago, and I finally got enough nerve to read it. It was an article that was written about me the day after my accident, about a local sports athlete paralyzed from a surfing accident. In the article, it actually stated that 2 individuals saved me and that they thought I was driftwood. And I ran into their legs, and they reached down to grab the driftwood and realized it was a body. And they pulled me onto the beach. And by that time, I woke up, I coughed. They call the air flight. Every time now, I live right in the path of the flight for the helicopter now. And every time that thing flies over my house, I was like, oh my God, thank God I was only ever in that thing once. They flew me to the University of Maryland Shock Trauma Center. I remember coming out of the helicopter. It was real windy and loud. And I could feel the stretcher going down this big corridor. And first thing I saw was just running around, a whole lot of people all around me. I couldn't move. And they started proceeding to put the screws in my head, putting these weights off the side of the striker frame. They hung about 55 pounds, I heard, off it to make sure I did not move my head. And then on the corner of my eye, I saw a nurse pick up a pair of scissors. And I opened my mouth and I said, oh, what are you going to do with that? She said to me, I'm sorry, son. I have to cut off your shorts. I cannot turn you. I paused and I looked at her and I said, whoa, I just bought those this week. She said, I'm sorry, son. I need to cut those. She cut those. And I remember that night, the doctor coming to me and said, John, I don't think you're going to ever walk again. You've broke your 5th cervical, and it crushed your neck. It's about right here. And after he said that to me, I cried. I thought you should cry when someone tells you you're going to be paralyzed. But in the back of my head, I really didn't believe him. To be honest, I thought, not a big deal, you know. Everything in my life that I've gone through, I've already pretty much overcome. You know, I had straight A's in high school. I was the captain of my wrestling team. I finished 4th in the state in wrestling. I was a state champ in powerlifting. I went to college. I was doing well in college. So in the back of my head, I said, you know what? In a couple of months, I'll be home. I'll go back to my old routine. Not a big deal. 1 month became 2, 2 became 3, 3 became 5, 5 became 7. After 7 months, I finally went home. But the world was different for me now. You see, it takes me about 2.5 to 3 hours in the morning to get up. Someone has to dress me. Someone has to bathe me. Someone has to help my bowel and bladder management. And if you have me for class, you know I don't write on the board. I don't pick off anything off the ground. I can lecture. And at night, someone has to help me go to bed. I am a tetraplegic / quadriplegic, as the old term. But I thought, you know what? If I can no longer be something physical, I will at least be something intellectual. So I finished my undergraduate degree in biology. I was a class president. I was a student body president. I have 2 masters, a doctorate, a postdoctorate. I'm board certified in rehab. I work here, and I love working at college level because you guys have so much passion and energy. And I also work as a rehab psychologist. I'm a gerontologist. I have a And my patients there are 65 and older. And they have so much wisdom and knowledge. So I have such a contrast between you and them. I hope what I bring tonight, is some clarity about what it is to be a person with a disability. I hope to give you some skills, some confidence about interacting with someone like myself. So let's get started with the workshop, okay? All right. But first, before I start, I have to thank my research team here. It's been a while since I updated my interactive software, and of course they went through many different versions. And about at 2 o'clock this afternoon, it wasn't working. I was like, oh shit. What do I do? And my team here, Amanda and Dominic and Val, kicked into gear. These are my research team students, and they just retyped and redid the whole presentation and hopefully make sure it works. So I have to thank them. And I gave them Snicker bars for it. So, all right, but thank you guys to make this happen for me. So, all right, so you have clickers, and there'll be certain slides where we'll have to ask you to click, and then there'll be others who are not. So, next. So, the objective for today's workshop is that I'm going to gather pre-workshop data, see where the population stands about their views on certain things. I'm going to hopefully give you some knowledge about individuals with physical disabilities. And through that knowledge and some practice, I'm going to hopefully give you some confidence and as well as skills. And lastly, we'll do post-work data. Part of the process in today's workshop is to get you comfortable, because so many of us are uncomfortable with diversity. And hopefully, at least through today, you'll have a better insight on at least my life. Okay, next. So, what category are you today? Are you an administrator, a student? So try your clicker out and see if this thing, go ahead and hit the timer. And does the timer come on? No, it's still polling. All right, just hit your clicker and we'll see the responses go up. Is this one working? That's okay. Is it working?
Well, we see the light.
All right, so it'll say, I hopefully have more than 7. Can you see it? A, B, C, D, E, F. Can you see it on yours? All right, push that. So I should have at least around 90. I see 8 people now. Okay. We're like 10% there. Is it working?
Yeah.
All right. Can we all right, hold on a second. Why don't we refresh that? Yeah, you could have just done it without it. You could have done it within it. Okay, just all right, just. Okay, let's see. All right. All right, try it again.
There it goes.
All right, the screen is off there. That is a timer. I don't know if we can move that screen, but that's just timing down 15 seconds. So just click and, wow, we only got 4 clickers. All right, so we have 4 students here. Okay, let's go to the next one. See if the next one works. Do you have a close family member? All right, try that. Why is this not, is the receiver, huh?
It's all in tightly too.
Yeah, is it? Are the only ones that are close working?
Yeah, there's like a radius.
No, is it, is there a USB up top there? Does it matter? Just once. How many did we get on that last one?
Just two.
Just two. Great. And I checked all those clickers today. Okay. Pull that receiver. Is there anything up top? Nothing up top to.
Professor, do we have to hit go on here first?
Huh?
Do we have to hit go? Is it- Oh, we have to hit go.
Do ya? All right, refresh it. Try it again. Try it again. Are we getting more people? That's it? Are you kidding me? It's not working. Oh my God, I can't believe this not working here.
And I hit, oh, I see three.
Like I said, it's probably the people that are closest to the receiver.
All right, give us 1 second. I just want to try and make sure this thing. You gotta love technology. All right, is there a spot up there for the receiver? Isn't there usually a spot up top there in the corner?
That's the three of us right there. Because I seen you here.
Do you want me to call
Yes.
Kurt, see if he's still here?
Yeah, maybe, because that's sort of like the main focus of the talk. 1 second. Can we put that somewhere else?
Yeah, I looked over on this thing, so I thought it usually has the.
There's no other USB ports. Have you done this before?
Huh?
Have you done this before?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't understand why it was working before everybody got here.
Now it's like I said, it's a receiver problem because
Here,
the
here.
responses that we're getting are like this from.
Put the receiver down below, or there's a different tray below.
Oh, we have to redo the power cord to restart it.
No, just put the receiver a little low.
I'll try refresh.
Oh my God. Okay, try that. All right, try clicking again, please.
Oh, there's four.
Oh, they're going up. They're going up.
Yeah, it's working.
He's not available. He's
Okay.
at Chang.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Are we getting?
Yeah, it's 45. 46.
Is it working?
Yeah, it's working.
Where are we at now?
4.
Okay. All right. That's one. All right. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, do you have any contact with individuals? So most people said no, right, on the last one? No. Okay. Okay, so go ahead and try this one. Do you have contact with anybody outside your family? A or B? Okay. So you don't, hey guys, don't hit that clock too early. Okay? So 48% said yes. Okay. All right. Next. Okay. Wow, can we see that? So how comfortable do you feel during interaction with an individual with physical disability? A, strongly agree, to G, strongly disagree. So, Likert scale. Oh, don't hit the don't hit the counter yet till I tell you. Okay? Because it's too quick. All right. All right. So most people are strongly agree, 36%. So I'm sort of preaching to the choir right now. Okay? So most of you are comfortable. Next. All right. How confident? So last question was comfort, and this one is just confidence. Do you feel like how you interact, do you feel confident? A, strongly disagree, okay? And G, strongly disagree. Go ahead, hit the. So we're at least getting about 80 of the receivers working, so that's good. Okay. So again, that clock there on the right, you can't see the clock, but it's a 15-second countdown. Again, so it's more skewed to the left, beyond neutral. Okay, good. Next. Out of the few categories here, do you have any contact with any of these individuals? Any types? Stroke, muscular dystrophy, spinal cord injury?
You can count you, right?
No, you can't count me. Can't count me. Go ahead, hit this. So this is the pre-data part. We just want to gather data here. Okay, so unsure, mostly to the right, 20-something. Okay, 70% other. MS, spinal cord injury, stroke, TBI. Okay, next. Can I bring up the topic of their disability? You being as able-bodied individual, can you bring up the topic? What do you think? What do you think? Never? A's never? Sometimes? What do you think? Can you bring up the topic? %says no way. 43% says sometimes. 8% said most of the time, and 7% says anytime. Okay. Next. I should wait for the individual to bring up their disability. So I'm flipping it around. So can I bring it up, or should I wait for that person to bring it? What do you think? What do you think? Okay. 4% said never. 34% said sometimes. And 20% said, I'll wait till they bring it up. Okay? Next. All right, so scenario number 1. You're an able-bodied individual, and a person parks his or her car in front of the curb cut. What do you do? Now, you're an able-bodied individual. A, do you politely ask him to move? B, do you yell at him to move? C, do you say nothing and find an alternative route? Or D, do you say nothing and when he or she's not looking, slash their tires? What do you do? A, what do you do? What would you do if you're an able-bodied individual? Okay, come on, 20 more clickers. What do you think? %26 says they would be nice and ask. 3% would be screamers. 32% would actually find an alternative route and say, and don't engage. Wow. And then 12%. Wow, we got some real aggressive people in here. 12% will be slashing tires. Okay? Next. Scenario number 2. You are an individual who uses the wheelchair now. Now change it around. You're no longer the able body. You are part of my crowd now. Would that change what you would do? A, B, C, or D? What would you do?
No, first I'll be like, can you please do it with a permit? I'm not with it. Depends on the story, try to
48% are now polite. Oh, we went from 3% to 12% yelling now. 9% would take an alternative route, and it went from 12 to 11 that we still got a fairly aggressive crowd. Okay, I mean there's over 100 people, so there's like 10% are slashers in here. All right, next. Scenario number 3. Your children are staring at someone with a physical disability. You should A, spank them. 2, tell them that that's what you will become if you don't stop looking at them. 3, praise them for being so curious. Or D, discuss with them about disability issues. What would you do as a parent? Yeah, be honest. I want you to be honest. Be honest. What would you do? 70% says they would discuss about it. Wow. 5% would go spanking. And 5% would tell them, hey, man, you're going to be just like them, right? Okay. Next. What's the next one? All right, here's my motto. So there's a lot of reasons why, as a clinical psychologist, our personality, our past interactions, our history of interacting with other people with disabilities, and our confidence. Are we confident in interacting with someone who is disabled? The model says this, look, I want you to extend yourself beyond the middle part. See, normal people, when they interact, it's like having a first date. You go on a first date, right? There's this gap. We don't know what to say to them. Does this person like chocolate? Does this person eat vegetables? What's your favorite color? We don't know what to say, right? So there's this gap. The ideal part's in the middle, but there's always a gap in understanding someone. What I believe in is that you need to extend yourself beyond the gap to make the other person comfortable, and you need to ask the right questions in a way that it's not offensive. So what I'd like you to do in the model is, if you are an able body, I want you to extend yourself beyond that red point and move yourself to the green part. Complete the gap. Get rid of the gap. And if you are a person with a disability, it goes the other way as well. If you're a person with a disability, if I was talking to a whole different group of people in wheelchairs, I would say to them, I need you to fill in the gap. Make the able-bodied person comfortable with what you have. And how do you fill in the gap? By understanding a little bit about their life and understanding how to interact with someone in a way that's not offensive. And that's hopefully what I'll show you or tell you to do today. Okay? So that's the model. Next. So, a couple data. There's approximately about 12.6% of individuals that could be labeled as person with a physical disability. Most individuals who have a physical disability do not work. Unemployment is incredibly high for someone with a physical disability. So almost sometimes at around 77%. Okay. Losing their jobs at a rate of 16% versus 10% without disabilities. Next. Why is it that it's uncomfortable? Well, a lot of times just the fact of the physical ability, it's just the fact that we're different. The fact that he's in a wheelchair and I'm not creates a sense of discomfort. Do you know what's the number one most uncomfortable disability to look at based on research? It's actually not a person in a wheelchair. It's actually facial disfiguration. Research has showed that if you had to choose a disability, the least chosen one is someone with a facial disfigurement. Okay? Because we're such visual human beings, and when you have a facial impairment, scars, it creates incredible uncomfortableness for people. So we lack this knowledge. We lack what to do. We have high anxiety. Because we don't know what to do, because we don't know what to say, we start to have anxiety about the interaction. Am I saying the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? Okay, next. So lack of knowledge, lack of skills, and as a consequence, individuals with disabilities are isolated, we're rejected, we have poor communication, and we have less opportunities for intimacy. That's been indicated in research. Okay, so lack of knowledge by able-bodied, lack of confidence changes for that we become rejected, isolated, like any minority groups at times. Next. All right. Here's a myth. Here's the comforting part. Because my disability is so obvious, it's easy to categorize me as a person with a disability, right? But there's so many people with disabilities that you just can't see. So just because you can't see it doesn't mean one doesn't have one. I guarantee you there's plenty of people right now in this room that have a disability that you cannot recognize without them letting you know, unless you observe them for a while. Okay? People who uses wheelchairs need wheelchairs. No, and that is a myth. There's plenty of people who uses wheelchairs that actually get out of the wheelchair and do the things they need to do, and then they go back into the wheelchair. So they don't actually always have to use a wheelchair. People with disabilities always need help. Well, that is actually wrong. If you're a paraplegic, and my dissertation actually was, I compared quadriplegics to paraplegics. A quadriplegic is a person like myself who have impairment of 4 limbs. A paraplegic is an individual who has an impairment of 2 limbs, usually their legs. And in my dissertation, I proved that an individual with paraplegia have greater psychological stress than a person with quadriplegia. Why? It's because they live in this nowhere zone. Because they are categorized as a person with a disability, physically, but functionally, they actually are independent. They don't need help. They pop down steps. You've seen them in Paralympic sports. They're like crazy mothers, okay? They do everything. They drive, they jump in. They don't need help. So neither are they physically disabled, functionally, but they are not able-bodied because they don't look the same anymore. So psychologically, they are actually in greater distress than a person like me who actually know where I belong. Okay. So, there is nothing one person can do to help eliminate the barriers of confronting, and that is wrong. Every one of us have an opportunity to make my life and person with a disability better. Next. All right, some etiquettes. Should I offer help? What do you think? Should I offer help to someone who's disabled? Do you think it offends them? It's not a clicker. No clicker yet. I'm just a hypothetical question. The answer is yes. If you observe someone with a disability that needs it, you should always offer help. Now, I'm just going to tell you how to do it, though. You don't want to just, like, for example, I've heard stories where someone was struggling to open a door, okay? And the person that wants to help so bad, oh, let me help. Grabs the door, opens it up, the person falls. It's like, oh, thanks. Okay. You should never assume what help they want, but you should ask, okay? Just ask them, because a person with a disability will tell you exactly what they need in that situation. Now, it is very, put it this way, because most people are very, very nice. I remember when I first learned that, oh, I don't have to ask for help if I just pretend I need help. What does that mean? So, say I go to the door, and I just don't feel like asking someone to open a door anymore. I just go up to the door and I just pretend I'm pulling on it. So, you know I'm not going to open a door. I could be there hours. I'd still be pulling on it. But when a person comes by, what do they say? Oh, hey, can you need help? Oh, yes. Thank you. So next time you see me do that, don't walk past me. Okay? I know he's faking it. I'm just going to walk past him. Okay. All right, be conscious of appropriate behavior. Do not generalize. Yes, please. Don't assume. If you have one disability, that means it categorizes. It's like any sub-minority. You gotta get to understand that that culture. So, I remember one time I went out to eat, and with my, I think at that time was my fiance. I went to a nice Italian dinner, and this waitress came up to us and said to my fiance, "What would you like to eat? And what would he like to eat?" I was like, oh, this individual doesn't think I can talk or communicate. So she came back, and I tried to interject somewhere. I think that at that time I was a third-year graduate student. And so I want to say I was intelligent, right? I was in grad school. And she looked at me and she said, "Oh, get out of here. Aren't you from Good Shepherd in Allentown where the nursing home live?" I was like, holy shit. She truly thinks I'm mentally challenged and I can't communicate. So I looked at my fiance, she looked at me, and she said, "Don't do anything stupid." And so the next time the waitress came back, I started doing this. I started to drool. I started to do everything she thought I was. And my fiance kicked me underneath the table. which I could not feel because I'm paralyzed. So obviously I didn't stop, and she was embarrassed, and I got my point across. So. Okay, next. Petting guide dogs. Petting guide dogs. Petting service dogs. Oh my God, I had a service dog one time. And it was a beautiful black lab. And it was like the greatest chick magnet. I mean, it literally just, people just love labs. You know, if you ever had a dog and you had a lab, it just sucks people in. But when it has a tag on and says working dog, everyone ignores it. It's like, it says do not pet. I don't know why people just becomes visually impaired when they see a dog. But you shouldn't pet guide dogs, and you should not pet service dogs when you had that backpack on. It's when they had the it's amazing. When we used to take that backpack off, the dog knew I'm not working anymore. I can act like a dog. I'm gonna poop right here if I want to. But if I had that tag on and I had the backpack on, I'm pooping on command. And it was amazing. I would take it out, I say, take a dump. Well, I wouldn't say those words, but and it would just poop. It's like, okay, I'll poop. It was an amazing dog. It was smarter than I was. Except for one time. I was in my master's program. I'm going down this hall. The dog is sort of hooked on to me. And coming down the other end was a German Shepherd. Beautiful, big German Shepherd. Seeing eye dog. I'm like, oh, cool. So I'm going down. I'm thinking I'm just going to pass it. I'm going to just say hi, just keep going. Instead, my dog started to hump this German dog. And it guided the person right into a wall. I was like, oh, dang. The only good thing is that they could not identify me. Right? So, but that was not good. Other than that, the dog was well trained, except for that one time. But you should not pet a dog. You should, let's consider sitting down when you talk to me. I always can tell when someone had my workshop. A lot of kids like to talk to me after class. But if you plan to talk to me after, or anybody in a wheelchair for a few minutes, after a while our necks get a little kink looking up at you. Take a knee. Grab a chair. Pull it up next to me. Make yourself comfortable, because I will be more comfortable. So anybody in the future, if you want to talk to someone who's in a wheelchair, take a knee. If you're too old to take a knee, grab a chair. Because I'll tell you, I greatly appreciate it, because I can look at you eye to eye. And it just naturally makes me more comfortable with you, because I'm aware that you are aware of things that's happening around you. Shaking hands. I point this out because so much of us society, it's about introducing, saying hi, right? When you meet someone new, you go up to someone and they say, and I go up to someone, I say, excuse me, I'm gonna run over your feet there, RJ. See what he's doing? He looked at me, he's like, uh-oh, what do I do? Not uncommon, okay? The gesture of shaking hand is so universal for most of us. And it's a little odd, because at times, you're like, do I shake his hand? His hand's impaired. Go with it. Shake the person's limb. If I'm going to extend it out, I'm asking you to grab hold of it. Just don't pull me over, but, okay? So, yeah, if the person is going to come up to you and say, hi, I'm John, how are you doing? And I'm going to stick my hand out to you. Come here. There you go. Come on, shake my hand. You're making me look bad. I'm sorry, did I just run over your
No, you're
toes?
fine, you're fine.
Very good. Okay. All right. So when children stare, we just talked about that. When children stare, I'm going to say to you, let them stare. That's part of their process of trying to understand what's going on. They want to evaluate the situation. They want to look at my wheels. I guess so many young kids want to see my wheels because they think it's so cool that you get to sit there and ride this thing. All right? Enjoy what they're excited. Let them watch you. Because if you say to them, don't watch, that just makes it worse. Now it becomes, it's a bad thing. Let them work. Let them touch. The only thing you don't want to let them touch is my joystick, though, because that is a no-no. Okay, that is where I control my situation. The wheelchair is my extension of who I am, and you don't want to, and I've had people put their feet on my chair or put their hat on my headrest, or you don't want to do that because this is a part of my identity. So that I would say no. But so as an adult, you wouldn't want to do that. But as a child, let them see, let them expect, let them get comfortable. Okay? I remember being at Macy's and I was sitting there going by and I saw a little kid watching me walk by and then I'm like looking, I was going to get other clothing and look at different things. And I felt this small human being following me. And I swear someone's watching me. And I turn around and there's this little kid peeking, looking at me, watching what I'm doing. And all of a sudden I hear in the background, the mom yelled, "Billy, get the hell out of there, what are you doing?" I'm like, no, it's all right. It's all right. Let the kid look. He's just curious. So I, in my part, need to invite them to be part of my life. And the funny thing, though, I was going through that part of the clothing. You know how they pack all those clothing so tight? So I was trying to get through the clothing in between two sets of clothing. So I sort of like wheel myself real fast right through it. And then a shirt got caught on my joystick. And then it changed my direction, and I went right into the clothing rack. So all you saw was like the back of my head embedded this clothing rack of clothing. I was like, oh my God, how do I get out of here? Okay, but so that's part of life there. Terms. Running along, right? People like, I was at work the other day, and I remember that I think it was the occupational therapist. She was walking by me, and I think I was in the way. And she quickly said, don't move, let me get by. Like, don't move? You're talking to a guy that's paralyzed 80% of the body. Of course I'm not going to move. But again, it's okay. That's just part of our terminology. Don't be freaked out about using those. Let's go for a walk. I hear that all the time. Let's go for a walk. I understand the terms. It's not offensive. Okay? Next. Micro skills. All right. I'm going to teach you how to be a psychologist. Okay? I'm going to teach you how to be a psychologist. Did you know that if you paraphrase someone's problem and you pretend you're interested, just lean forward, you nod the head, and you paraphrase what they said. Paraphrase basically is you summarize what they're saying in shorter words. If you just did that, did you know 50% of people who go to see psychologists get better? That's it. 50% of people get better just if I just said the same thing to them what they said. And I lean forward, I nod the head, and I use the word "it sounds like." It sounds like you're having problems with your wife. It sounds like you're struggling with school. Just using the word "it sounds like," and you lean forward and you nod your head, half of people will get better. Did you know that 25% of people get better just by setting an appointment with a psychologist? You haven't even seen the person yet. All you have is a date. And 25% of you will get better. So now 75% of you will get better without even doing very much. Now you're going to say, I'm not going to pay that psychologist, right? Okay, but so leaning forward, paraphrasing, nodding head, and the bottom one, taking the one down. Here's what I would like you to do. When you have to ask for something that's really uncomfortable, and it's anxious provoking, and it creates an anxiety, and you don't know how to ask, you take the one down position. You allow the person to be more powerful. You allow the person to be slightly understanding. You just say to them, excuse me, my apologies. May I ask? Boom. When you say, excuse me, my apology, the natural instinct for human beings is to say, oh, yes, it's okay. You don't have to apologize. Does that make sense? So you just take the one down position and you ask the tough question. It sounds so much nicer when that question gets asked, when you say, sorry, I don't mean to prod, but can I ask you this? Okay? So that's how you approach. Take the one down position. Next. Okay. So here's the instruction. We're going to role play just for a few seconds. Okay? You are a able-bodied individual self who's going to meet someone for the first time. Okay? So, two people pair up quickly. Find a pair. Okay? One person sits in a chair. The other person stands up. All right? And what I want you to do, go ahead, pair up. Stand up. I want you to listen, hey. Well, hold on. They can't hear me. Listen, hold on. Listen. So, I want you to able-body. I want you to lean forward and shake their hands. Person with a disability, just briefly move your hand up. So I want you to extend yourself. Say hi. Reach across. Okay. Next. All right, next. Next, get out of here. Next. Amanda, I need you next. Okay, switch rows. All right, switch rows, switch rows. Okay. Next. Next. All right, next. All right, All right, next, listen, class. Second scenario. Okay, you're talking to someone who's in a wheelchair, and you notice that their foot fell off their foot pedal. All you say to them is this: I apologize. So you start with a one down, and you say, I apologize. I notice your foot is off your foot pedal. May I help you with that? Okay? Be quiet, instruction here. One person pretends they're the person in the wheelchair. The other person stands up, and all you say to them is, my apologies. I notice your foot is on a... So you are engaging, you're asking, you're taking a one down, and you're offering service. May I ask, may I put your foot back on your foot pedal? If they say yes, great. If they say no, no. But you do the one down. So give that a shot. Try it. Okay, one person stands up, the other person's there. What? No, not yet. Just. I mean, yeah. So that way they don't fall off. No, we'll just get them past it. Next. Okay, next. Next. Okay. Okay. Shh. All right. Switch rows. Switch rows. Try switching rows. Quickly, hurry up. Switch rows. Switch rows. Hurry up. Ah, they switch rows. All right. All right. Go ahead. All right. Summarize. Go. Okay, class. Back to your clickers. Can I bring up the disability? Can I bring up the disability? All right. Go ahead. Next. So can I bring up the disability? And the answer is, okay. Anytime, 13, 24. Again, I think you can. I think you just got to approach it. You have to say, look, you don't say, look, you just say, I apologize. May I ask you about your disability? Okay, you do the one down, because you know what? My disability is such an encompassing part of my life. If you're going to ask about it, I'm actually going to be happy because I know that you're interested in my life, instead of just leaving like a big white elephant in the room. But you approach it by saying, I apologize, may I ask? Okay, if the person doesn't want to talk about it, they would say no. Okay, next. Okay. Have I learned some culture about physical disabilities? Go ahead. Hit it. Okay. 69%. All right, who's that person? I'm going to kick his ass. All right, next. I've learned some new etiquettes of interacting with an individual with a disability. Just don't do the last slide yet, because I want to tell a story, then we'll do the last slide.
Is this like the one before the last?
Huh?
Is this the one before the last?
I don't know when that is.
Either.
Okay. So I've learned a new etiquette. And most people would say yes. Right? 2%. Okay, I'm going to get you later. Okay. Next. Is it okay to extend your hand to shake someone if they have an impairment in their limb? If that person's going to extend their hands, hey, fair game. But you have to make an effort to reach toward them, though. Okay. Good. All right. Okay. I'm not sure exactly how that's adding up, but. So, scenario: your children are staring at them. What should you do? I mean, most people are fairly educated in here, so we already was high on that last one. Okay, go ahead. Is that timer going? Okay. Next. Here we go. Is it coming? Okay. Wow. We still got people who want to spank. You need to talk to me about anger management after this. Okay, that's scary too. Okay, next. Okay, I have a new set of skills to interact with someone with physical disability. Maybe we won't. That's okay. I'll tell the story after the slide, because I can't tell when's coming up anyway. Okay. All right. Keep going. Okay, how comfortable? A through F. Extremely comfortable. Very extremely uncomfortable with interacting with someone with a disability. Okay. You probably can start the timer right away now because we're getting late. Okay, good. Okay. Okay, so we're more to the right, at least skewed to the right. That's good. So the workshop helped a little bit. Next. Okay. All right, so here just what should you do? And most of us already said that you should politely ask them to move. It helps everybody, even if you're able-bodied or disabled. It helps with the whole scenario. Be aware of where you park. Be aware of your surrounding. Okay. Next. Okay. 6 per person. Wow. Again, that's probably the same people who are spanking the 6%. Okay. Do you want to slash your tires? Next. Keep going. How confident? Comfortable versus confident. Okay. All right, good. A little more confident there after the workshop. Next. Okay, what do you like the most about the presentation? The information, the presentation, the role playing, or just the interactive part, the clickers? Okay, presentation, information. No one likes the role playing. Oh. You know, psychologists, we love role playing. Okay, empty chair techniques, all that good stuff. Pretend that's your mom. You know, everyone hates your mom. You know, hey mom. Okay, next. Okay, Dr. Chang is what? Asian, tetraplegic, sexy, or all the above? Wow. I like the sexy part. Okay. I like to leave you with one story that I it's part of my life that I say it. I probably say it a lot. If you have not heard it, if you have heard it, excuse me, but if you haven't, I'd love to share it with you because it's a fun part of my life. I'd like to leave you with this parting story. I was coming home from a master's program one day, and my roommates had classes during the day, and I went to my apartment. I was alone, and I was hungry, and I was like, what do I do? You know, my hands are paralyzed, and I don't cook. So I remember going up to the refrigerator, and I put my hand through the handle of the refrigerator, and I pulled it open, and I looked in, and I saw, oh, there's hot dogs on the top. It's like, okay, you know, maybe I can warm up a hot dog for myself. Okay, so I stuck my hand in the fridge, and I wiggled one of the hot dogs in between my fingers, and I got it there, and I flipped it onto my lapboard, and then, you know, I scooped up to this microwave, you know, popped it open, and I just got this thing and threw it in there, right? and I hit the button, and the thing started to cook, and it's like a minute, and I don't know if you ever watch a hot dog burn in a microwave, because it's like this is the worst thing that you ever want to see. It's like a, just a deformed penis looking, right? But so, the thing stopped. It's like one side's narrow, the other side's engorged and blown up, and I was like, okay. So I was excited. I was starving, right? So I popped the thing open, and I can't tell if it's hot or not. I think it's steaming. My hands are. I don't have sensation. So I waited, and I waited about a minute, and I go, okay, cool. So I went to grab it. I pulled it onto my lapboard to take it over to the table, and it rolled off my lapboard and went onto the floor. And I was like, fuck. I'm sorry, Provost. I was pissed. I was like, oh, shit. All right, problem solved. So okay, I'll go get my reacher. Now, you've seen those reachers that old people have. They squeeze those things. Well, I don't have that. I can't squeeze one. I had this thing called a quad reacher. So I put my hand through this ring, and that holds it. And then at the end of this thing, there's a string with a ball. And I put that in my mouth, and I pull it with my neck, and that opens and closes this claw, right? So I actually had it. I was right-handed back then, but so I had my hand, I had the thing in, I had this thing. I'm grabbing onto the string, and I'm chasing this thing across my living room, and it's rolling across my living room, all right? And I'm like, and it's like it's getting bigger and bigger because it's collecting all that dust from my. So finally I got it, and I got it onto the table, and this 1 ounce hot dog, it's like 5 pounds now. It's massive. It has hair, has dog hair, has, everything you can think of that collects on a floor of an apartment. And I looked at that. And the decision, what's a big decision I had to decide? Am I going to eat this thing? I looked at it. It's been over an hour now. I looked at it again. I looked at the time. I felt my stomach growling. Damn right I ate that thing. Have a good night.